Back to the channel for another video on Dawn of Man. Now, if you watched my first video, I talked about the beginnings of this game and like how to start out and basically hunting and gathering. We have come quite a ways now since that first video. I told you I was going to skip over the next era and go straight to the Neolithic, which is this era we're seeing right now. This is finishing up the Neolithic era. Let me get into the tech here just to go over everything. So we did a video on the Paleolithic, which I already put out. If you guys want to see how starting out the game and everything, you can go watch that video. But I did skip over this era right here, which is the Neolithic era. Basically, we just unlocked two new tools, which is a bone knife, the bone sickle, and the flint sickle and the flint knife. We unlocked pottery, archery, our first bows, and then we got into, not really, but we unlocked some stuff to get into farming, grain processing, and pulse processing. We got our first transportation tool right here, the sledge making, which is kind of like a sleigh that you would pull items and resources with. You could call it, it's kind of like a cart without wheels. You just kind of put, your rocks or meat or whatever that they're gathering, and they'll just pull it across the ground. So it's our first type of transportation type deal. And then we got our first, our first spirituality, which is the building of the totem. Before that, we did start out with a spiked skull like thing that they stuck in the ground, but now we actually got a totem pole and megalithism. I can't even say that correctly, but basically those are the big stone structures that they'll eventually build. So that's all the Neolithic was. It took me about an hour to finish the Paleo, and it took me about another hour to finish the Meso, like slightly under an hour for both of those, but close to an hour. The Neolithic, which I told you was the one I was going to do the next video on, took me the longest. I'm about 2.5 hours into it right now. Now, I unlocked underground mining, which means we can mine into the hillside now. The thatching, which I kind of went over with the buildings already, we had, thatch huts. So instead of having the skin huts like we did in the first, or not skin huts, the skin tents, the animal skin tents that you start out with, we now actually have the hut buildings with, warmth in them and everything. And then you got the storage huts now, been upgraded. We got a granary for the food. We got stables for the animals. We got weaving, which we can make different clothings. We got a workshop. And then we'll go to the next one. We got a well, so we got water to get directly into the well there. We got fortifications, so we got gates, walls, a wooden platform, and watchtower. Our first fortifications in here. And then we got into our farming finally with cereal domestication, pulse, and flax. And then we also domesticated goats, sheep, and pigs. And we also got into weaving, which unlocked different outfits and clothing, stuff to make clothing and netting and everything else. Then we got stilting, which we can make bridges. And then megalithism, I think that's how you say that, megalithism, we'll say that anyways. But this is kind of like religious, kind of spiritual buildings, burial buildings, the dolmen, the stone circle. So we got the dolmen right there, and I actually have the stone circle, hasn't been built yet, but basically you're going to use these large megalith stones that you see just laying over the map, which they're going to need 6 of them to make that. They haven't started that yet, so we'll get that over there. And that's basically it for your spiritual buildings. Like here's the totem pole. This is kind of what we start out with. The skull pole was the first kind of religious belief kind of system. Now we got a totem there. We got the burial grounds for the dead. And then again, you can see we went from the animal skin tents to now thatch buildings. The same thing with the storage huts. And these are the stables. So we'll get into the animals here. Now we got domesticated pigs. We've had our dogs from the first video. We got goats and pigs and sheep. Of course, sheep give the wool that you can use to make clothing and other things, and then pigs give meat, of course, and then goats you can get milk and also meat and clothing. So there you go. You got different animals here that you can use to your village necessities. Okay, so we don't have to worry about hunting and gathering as much, because now we can pretty much use our domesticated animals to our benefit. Now, how that works as well, there's actually animal limits, as you can see here in the lower left corner, that you can set. So right now I have all my animals, my goats, my pigs, and my sheep set at 33% of the population. My population's 69 people right now. It says 70 down here. So it's going to take 33% of 70, which is going to be 23 of each animal. So that's what I can have before they slaughter. Right now I have 22 goats, 23 sheep, and 21 pigs. So nothing needs to be slaughtered, but if it goes over that 23 units, they're going to start slaughtering them for food. Excuse me, had to cough there. But anyways, that is it as far as the animal limits go. So that's a good process. The only thing I don't like about the animal limits is I think what most games do in this case is they're going to kill the oldest animal first. Animal that's going to die soon anyways, to depopulate them from your thing and get the meat or whatever. That way the younger ones can grow up and live longer and reproduce and everything you need them to do. But in this case, I've noticed that they marked some of the younger animals to slaughter, which doesn't make sense to me. That's something I did notice about the game mechanic. I feel like that's a little bit off. It shouldn't be like that. As you can see, we'll move on from the animals, though. That's the only issue there. Now, the problem that I did right away is I built too much farmland. Now, you can see all this farmland I have here, but there's a bunch of different things. We got flax, we got chickpeas, we got barley, we got a couple different types of wheat, we got peas. So we got all these different types of food and grains and wheat and all that stuff that we can use to make, flour, and then of course make bread or hay or whatever for the animals. So we got all that here, but I think I put way too much at one time, which is what messed up my workload. I didn't have a big enough population to do all the work that needed to cover everything, which is kind of what distressed my population here. That's why you see a lot of, if you look, there's a lot of sad faces. They're just not too happy with me. And just again, there you can see the sledge thing that they're pulling. We only have 3 of those right now. I need to build some more, but they'll pull those around and they'll stack them up with different resources to gather quicker. But then another mistake I made as far as messing with the too much workload on my people is I tried to build the whole wall first. Like I put everything down to build the wall first, which added extra stress on everything. As you can see, the wall's not too bad. I got the wall. I got a gate here. I got 2 watchtowers that still need to be built. I got these wooden platforms for people to stand on and shoot. Since there is the terrain, as you can see, is very hilly. The whole map's a big hill, basically. You kind of got to use that as part of your wall as well. Like I don't think anybody can get through right here. So I'm able to just connect my wall straight to this hillside. But there are problems. Like, for instance, you can see right here, they could easily, somebody could come, the raiders could come right through and get right into my city right there. So I do have to put up these other type of gates kind of connected. Now I am a little bit worried about this part right here. I don't know if they can come up through here and get down in here, which I think they might have to. So I might have to alter that a little bit. So I might have to put some fencing around here as well. It's very difficult to make sure your wall is exactly foolproof. Just because of that, as you can see, I had to do the same thing here. I put a gate there. I had to put a gate there. That way I can lock it up and my people can still get out that way. But yeah, I put those up. As you can see, I have watchtowers. Now, when you are raided, they're going to attack these towers and stuff right away. Because I think I don't know if they actually shoot through them right now. They might. But these are just considered watchtowers, not guard towers. I don't know if there's a difference. I don't think it tells you. But I think once they're guard towers, they'll actually have somebody in there and they can shoot the people. Right now, they're just going to detect if there's incoming raiders or whatnot. But yeah, and then you can see we put little bridges out here just to make it easier for people to walk across. And that's about it for fortification. And that's the farming land that I put in here. So don't make the mistake of building your walls too large right at the bat. Like if you have to, maybe start off with your wall at the front here and then work your way around, which is kind of what I did. But I tend to try to figure out how I want to build stuff. So I try to put everything down first. And then I realize that it's going to make the workload of my people outrageous, which is what happened. And then the same thing with the farmland. Start less, put just a few patches of farming area in first. Don't go all out like I did until you have a large enough population for it. So that's what I would recommend. Your animals too, with the video. You do have to go out there and capture the wild animals, and I'll show you. I can probably show how that works. Like this is called primal vision. I don't think I said that in the first video, but you can see we have some wild goats out here, and they have young ones, so you can just take them, or these sheep. I think these might be sheep. Yeah, these are sheep. So if you wanted to come out here and capture the wild sheep, you have to go after the young, the babies, basically. And there's an icon when you click them, and it says capture. Now, obviously, you can't capture adults. You have to kill them. You can't, or you have to hunt them. You can't actually capture them. But that's what you do, and you have to do that for all animals you want to domesticate. So if you want to find pigs, I don't know if there's any pigs out here. You'll just have to search the map. And I did this in the other video that I did on the Neolithic era, because that's kind of when we first started, where we could domesticate goats. Like, here's some pigs. So you just have to go around the map, find the babies, can't get the adults, have your people go out and capture them, and then that's all there is to that. So that's how you get your animals. You can also buy them for when a trader comes in here. Sometimes they'll have animals available that you can just trade them for. So that's another way to get animals. So let's say you capture them, but you only capture males and you need a female. Sometimes they'll have a female that you can buy. So that's how that works. I think that's pretty much it, just to get you guys caught up on how things work on here. As you can see, my problem right now is my workload's too high. I have everybody in normal mode, so we're not speeding up. But the workload's too high. I built my farmlands too quickly, too large. And same thing with the fence. You just got to make sure you go a little slower with things, and you'll be fine. So that is about it for the Neolithic era. I'm going to try to catch up get my workload down a little bit, and then I am going to jump onto the Copper Age. I think I already showed you guys that before you go into the Copper Age, it does say you are about to enter the Metal Age. It's highly recommend that you fortify your settlement and have enough people and weapons to defend from raiders. Okay, so once you go to the actual Copper Age from the Neolithic Age, you're going to be attacked more often by raiders, and it's telling you definitely want to have at least the start of fortifications, so walls and towers, and you also want to make sure that your people have enough weapons, bows and spears and things like that to protect themselves. So yeah, that's about it. So the next video I put up will be us in the Bronze Age, because I'm going to skip over the Copper Age. There's not a whole lot. I mean, just to go over that now, we unlock copper smelting, which is going to lead to the Bronze Age. We can build fruit trees or plant fruit trees, so that's another source of food. We got rye, some more crops to grow, some more wheat, and then we can domesticate cattle, so we can have more meat, another meat source, as well as milk and other things we need. And then we can domesticate the donkey, and we can get the wheel finally for the Copper Age. We can get the wheel, so now we can have donkeys pulling carts for us instead of the sledge that we had before. And then we'll move on to the Bronze Age, and then I'll do a video starting the Bronze Age, I guess, and we'll go from there for that. And we're almost done with the game, which, like I said, this game moves really, really quickly. As you can see, it took me less than an hour to get through the Paleo, less than an hour to get through the Meso, and it took me about 2.5 hours to get through the Neolithic, and that's building the fence as well, which took a little while, and then also the farmland and everything else, and then getting the workload down. So you could probably get through all these in an hour apiece. I imagine you could if you tried, but it is what it is. It took me 2.5 hours to build my fence and everything. I guess it just depends on how large of an area and how you're going about everything. So there we go, guys. This is Dawn of Man, a very fun game. So definitely check it out. Watch my first video so you get an idea of the regular game mechanics. I'm just basically updating you on the progress of my first go on the PS5 version here, my first go around, and just go through everything. So that's what it looks like for me. again, I think this game is probably like, I don't know the price because I got a free upgrade since I already had it on the PS4. They allowed me just to upgrade to the new PS5 version. So I imagine the game can't be, it's probably like 10, 20 bucks. I think it cost me 20 bucks when I bought it years and years ago. So anyways, guys, thanks for watching. Stay tuned, and I'll have another Dawn of Man video here shortly. If you enjoy it, like and subscribe. And like I said, this channel isn't usually a video game channel. I usually don't do reviews on this stuff, but I do. But I'm going to start doing different reviews on different things. I mainly do some action figures that I collect, or collectible figures that I do. If you've seen my channel, so I'm going to do some reviews. I was thinking about doing separate channels for everything, but I mean, I'm into all sorts of entertainment. I'm into some comic books, some horror comics. I'm not like a huge like superhero guy with that. I also do like I might do reviews on some comic books. I also read a lot of like Stephen King books. I don't know if I'll review books on here or not. So those things are, and I don't know, maybe I'll do comics, maybe I'll do regular books. So I might do some book reviews. Who knows? It might get a little boring. I'm not sure how I'll go about doing that, but maybe I'll try. And then also television and movies. I was thinking about reviewing them because originally when I put this channel up, this is all for fun, guys. This is just for me to connect with people and just review stuff in my own opinion on how I feel about it, and maybe recommend stuff that you guys haven't heard of, or, you know, maybe be like, hey, I want to try that game or read that book. But yeah, mainly action figures, but I'm going to try to expand the channel to different things as well, just to get people interested, I guess, and stuff that I'm interested in, and see what we can see if I can get like-minded people, a little community or something. But it's all for fun for me. This is just to do a review and talk about these awesome things that I'm into. But anyways, guys, thanks for watching. Again, like, subscribe, and I will be back soon.